Good morning. I titled this message, It's Your Morning. To allow all of you who have followed us online since we began using this channel in 2017, I wish you all a very happy 2023. I began teaching in the physical space in 1992 when I was a young university student. And I thank God that all through these years, He has given us both the ability and the resources to keep doing this with young people, especially now, these days, with the changed circumstances in our country. There are many more young people than before in our country today. There are more educated people. They are doing business, these young people, and they are engaged in politics and in many spheres of life. But to me, there seems to be less and less concerted collective teaching effort that encapsulates what really matters in building a responsible, values-centered Ugandan. Yet it is this kind of Ugandan with a keen sense of what the country needs that we hope to rely on for leadership tomorrow. So, we will keep adding a brick slowly by slowly, teaching, hoping that some of you will take over at some stage and expand this work that we do at enterprise, at community, and at country levels. So now, if you're alive today in 2023, you must thank God for your life. Those who died in accidents during that 1 week of crossing over from 2022 to 2023, or they died in their sleep, they didn't do anything wrong. And you are not special that you are alive. It is simply that God has had mercy on you. In the book of Romans, the letter to Romans written by Paul in chapter 9, verses 15-16, the apostle, who is a very good communicator of all times for me, he quotes what God told Moses, and he writes, and I quote, "I will have mercy on whomever I'll have mercy, and I'll have compassion on whomever I will have compassion. Then it is not of him who wills, nor of him who runs, but of God who shows mercy." Close quote. Therefore, please don't take your life for granted. Thank God for it. In this installment, I would like to ask you for three things, this year, as we begin our journey together. I begin the first one with an example. The Bantu people called the Wakamba in Kenya, who live in the counties of Kitui and Machakos, around the Tsavo area. Does anyone in history watching remember a pair of Tsavo lions that were a menace to the construction workers of the Uganda Railway Line in 1898? If you like history, you know that. You might know that. It is said this pair of lions killed some 35 people. Now, the Wakamba who live in this area, and also I think in Embu, the northeastern town of Nairobi called Embu, they have a very interesting saying that I'm told it is shared even by the Igbos of Nigeria. It says, "Kiyoko kya muntu ni bala wa mukera." It means whatever time you wake up, it is your morning. Whether it is 4 a.m., 11 a.m., as long as the powers of your mind know what to do, this is your morning. It means this is not about time or age or circumstances. It is when you learn something, when you learn a skill and you put it into practice. That's when you wake up. My advice this year as we started is that we forget whatever hurt us yesterday, last year, whatever didn't go well, and we focus on a new year as if it is a new day. It is what the Wakamba people are teaching us in this statement. They are teaching us that whatever pains, whoever disappointed you, whoever didn't measure up last year, this is now your Kiyoko, your morning again. Apostle Paul here gives us some instructive thoughts about how to start afresh and forgetting yesterday's pain and learning from them. So I want you to think of a man, this is Paul, who was very educated for his time, studied in the most prestigious school, sat at the feet of some of the most intellectually smart people of his time, able to communicate very well, had a lot of influence on his generation. But this very man, Paul, in Philippians chapter 3, verse 13, he says, and I quote, "Brothers, I consider that I have not made it my own, but one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and straining forward towards what lies ahead." Close quote. Paul was even a good candidate to hold on to grudges and the heartaches of yesterday. Listen to what he says about his situation in another letter that he wrote to the Corinthians. The Corinthians were the first century people living in a very bustling commercial city at the intersection of a route to the Balkans, where I shared with you 2 weeks ago, and Asia Minor, present-day Turkey, and Greece to the west. It had a number of trading ports connecting the east parts of the Mediterranean Sea and the western parts. He says in that letter, and I quote, "5 times I received from the Jews 39 lashes. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked, and I spent a day in the deep. I have been on frequent journeys, in dangers from rivers, dangers from robbers, dangers from my countrymen, dangers from Gentiles, dangers in the city, dangers in the wilderness, dangers on the sea, dangers among false brethren. I have been in labor and hardship through many sleepless nights, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold and exposure." Paul speaks for many of us. Many of us haven't gone through that, but he speaks to our spirit, to our heart. When I read this one again, Paul had all the reasons to not forget the past that he went through. As a matter of fact, he had many potential candidates in his life for hate and dislike, and he would never have forgiven and moved on unless he was humble and intentional in disregarding the past and focusing on a new day. That is what, young people, I wish for you, because I know the most effective people are the humble ones. And to those humble ones, leadership and authority in their area of gifting and calling will eventually come. So stay with your Kyoko, stay with your morning. This is number 1 wish for you, 2023. Enjoy the start of 2023, and God bless you.
I'd like to hear from you. Please email us at info@tapmedia.com and visit our website at www.tapmedia.com. You can also visit our offices located at Tomosi Business Park, Luzira, Port Bell Road, or call 0414 220 702. Thank you.